The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Glory to you, O Lord. When Judas had left them, Jesus said, "Now is the Son of Man glorified, and God is glorified in him. If God is glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and God will glorify him at once. My children, I will be with you only a little while longer. I give you a new commandment: love one another. As I have loved you, so you also should love one another. This is how all will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. We hear in this Gospel Jesus give the new commandment, the commandment of love. The love that he calls us to is, for the most part, unfamiliar to us in our human experience because of the examples of love, the imperfect love that we have been given throughout our lives because of the wounds that we have endured. And so when we hear the words, "I love you," it means something different to us at various times of our lives and as individuals. But we're called to that perfect love. Jesus says, "I command you." It's not a suggestion, as I like saying. I command you to love one another. And even though we might be unfamiliar with that love, that perfect love that he commands us to, it's within each and every one of us, and we have the capacity for it. And we may see it break through sometimes in our lives, in our world. I experienced it a lot when I worked in hospital ministry. And one thing came to mind is the parent who is with the child in the hospital, and the other parent is in another city, in another state, trying to hold down a job in order that they have the medical benefits, in order that their child receive treatment. I've seen it with the person who heard about the coworker who needed a kidney and was moved to do something about it. And in the process of being worked up to donate a kidney, discovered that she herself had cancer and was unable to be a donor. Or the little boy who was extremely afraid of needles, but without hesitation, when asked to undergo a bone marrow donation, did it unhesitantly. And maybe those examples stir in you, stir in each one of us, our own examples. Those times where we've seen that command of Jesus' love being realized in our world. And it's not always heroic love, but we often don't recognize that love involves suffering. And that suffering is usually to the degree that we are ready to make the sacrifice that we're asked to in giving that love. I've heard it said that the word love is always cross-shaped, that there's always sacrifice involved, as I said. And that may be something like the pastor who's lovingly led the congregation for many years and now has been asked to take on a new ministry. It might be in the widow or the widower who is adjusting to life with a new reality, how to understand love on a daily basis without the person that they spent so many years with. In our scriptures today, in that first reading, we hear about Paul and Barnabas on their missionary expedition. What motivated them? I'd like to suggest it was that command of love that Jesus gave to them. Paul was knocked to the ground by the love of Jesus Christ, and his life was forever changed. Barnabas, well, we don't know the reason, but brought everything that he had and laid it at the feet of the disciples. And that was the command of love that Jesus invited him. And from there, they go on this missionary expedition. And they go full circle, as we hear. And they go to the middle, and then they work their way back through those same places that they experienced persecution. But they also saw the fruits of sharing the love of Jesus. And so they had the courage to go back and maybe face persecution again because they were living this command of love that Jesus left with each and every one of the disciples, the command of love that he leaves to each and every one of us. Sitting at breakfast in Rome, in the hotel, looking over the city of Rome, I see all these domes with crosses on the top of them. Domes of churches where the relics of some great saints are preserved today. Relics of those who gave everything, who lived this love that Jesus commanded them to. And maybe we won't be asked, our lives won't be asked of us, but we are called to do that, or to exercise that love each and every day of our lives. One of the images that's firmly impressed in my mind was the visit to St. Andrew's Church. St. Andrew asked, he didn't feel worthy like his brother to be crucified as Jesus was. But he was hung on an roped to an X-shaped cross. And it is said that he hung there for 2 days preaching. And there were many converts because of that preaching, because of the command of love that he had received from Jesus. And those converts were made as he hung upon the cross. And in case you didn't notice, Jesus is back at the Last Supper in our gospel reading today. It says that Judas went out. And Jesus doesn't miss a beat. That doesn't change his focus, leading his disciples and commanding them to love as he has loved, to give everything in order that others might have life and life to the fullest. In our second reading, we hear John in the book of writing the book of Revelation from Patmos. He's in exile. His faith has landed him there. His proclamation of that love that Christ commanded them to has landed him where he's at, and he's writing to the persecuted church, trying to encourage them to persevere in the love of Christ. And what he says is that all things are being made new. And whatever it is, whatever sacrifice, whatever suffering that we're asked of, brothers and sisters, we can rest assured that it is being remade anew and coming down from heaven to help us continue on and persevere into the end, unto the end, as all of those that have gone before us in faith, especially those who have given it all for our Lord Jesus. The love that Jesus asks of us will cost us everything in the end, but we will be given it all in return. Jesus isn't asking anything of us that he has not already given. One of the best images for me in recent days, in recent weeks, has been our Adoration Chapel. And if you haven't been there recently on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or on a Friday when we have adoration as well, you might want to just go in there when the Blessed Sacrament is exposed and kneel down in the center aisle. And as you look up, see the crucifix that is partially covered by the monstrance that contains the precious body of our Lord Jesus. He gave it all that we might have life. And we come here to be fed by that life. And he gives himself to us each and every day in order that we might be able to live in a greater way the command that he gives to us, the command to love one another, the command to love as he has loved us.